For the first time, surveillance footage shows Prince walking into his doctor's office less than 24 hours before his death. But what investigators discovered inside Paisley Park goes far deeper than a medical tragedy. 48 hours before he was found unresponsive, a home protected by a high-security surveillance network suddenly went blind. Every hallway, every studio door, every entrance, all cameras were shut off. Not by accident, not by a malfunction, by human hands. Police confirmed it. And when Prince's sister, Tika Nelson, learned that an unidentified person entered Paisley Park the night before her brother died, her voice broke. Someone was there, and someone turned off those cameras. To understand those final hours, investigators had to start with the one place Prince believed could protect him, Paisley Park. It wasn't just a home. It was a fortress he designed after years of lawsuits, threats, and disturbing encounters. By the early 2000s, Prince trusted almost no one. He moved like a man who knew he was being watched. He slept lightly, double-checked locks, and walked the halls quietly, listening for what he could not describe. In 2014, he upgraded the entire surveillance system. High-resolution cameras were installed at all key points, entryways, recording studios, corridors, and exterior doors. More than a dozen cameras monitored the property. He didn't want grand security. He wanted safety. Only 4 people had access to the camera controls: Prince himself, his longtime friend and assistant Kirk Johnson, a security technician, and a 4th unnamed contractor with elevated access. A ghost in the investigation. When investigators reviewed system logs, they found no glitches, no outages, nothing accidental. Cameras were shut off one by someone who understood the network. The 4 people with access became the center of every question. At the same time, Prince had been acting different, withdrawn, uneasy, moving through hallways as if he sensed someone close to him was no longer trustworthy. Everything began to unravel. On April 14, 2016, when Prince's private jet made an emergency landing after he collapsed mid-flight, he was minutes from death. Kirk Johnson called Dr. Michael Schulenberg, asking him to meet them when they arrived in Minneapolis. When Prince returned to Paisley Park that morning, a hallway camera flickered to black for 2 seconds, something that almost never happened. No one paid attention at the time, but investigators later marked that moment as the beginning of the surveillance collapse. Staff said he didn't seem grateful to survive the emergency landing. He seemed shaken, like someone had followed him home. 2 days later, an unfamiliar man appeared on Prince's internal schedule, arranging appointments, blocking hospital visits, and speaking to staff with an authority no one understood. The family had never met him. Prince didn't introduce him, yet he acted like he belonged there. And Prince said nothing, just watched him quietly. On April 18, the first camera went completely dark. A staff member reported it to Prince. He walked into the control room, looked at the blank screen, and whispered, "Someone's been in here." The technician offered to fix it immediately. Prince said, "Not yet." No one knows why. On April 19, the most important camera in Paisley Park, the main studio corridor, lost signal. The technician insisted he needed to check for tampering. Before he could arrive, someone from Prince's team called to cancel the repair. Prince never made that call. By April 20, multiple cameras had failed, but only in the areas Prince used most. At 11:40 p.m., the access card reader at the East Side service door logged an entry from a temporary card created just 3 days earlier. The name didn't match any long-term employee. No one admitted creating it. The family didn't know him. Prince had authorized no new access that week, and the cameras that should have captured the intruder's face along that hallway were already dark. The man stayed inside for 28 minutes. Only an exterior camera, one of the last still functioning, recorded the door opening when he left. No face, no silhouette, just a time. This was the moment that shattered Tika Nelson when police told her what happened. It was the moment she spoke about publicly when she said, "Someone was in the house that night, and my brother's cameras were off." By the morning of April 21, the entire surveillance system had fallen silent. When first responders arrived and asked for footage, staff brought them to the control room. Every screen was black, not frozen, not static, black. The pattern was unmistakable. Someone shut down the cameras in sequence, covering specific routes through the building. The exact path the unidentified intruder had taken the night before Prince died. At 9:43 a.m., Prince was found near the elevator. When investigators tried again to retrieve any footage from the previous 2 days, they found nothing. The most critical 48 hours simply didn't exist. Suspicion focused on the same 4 figures with access. The first was Kirk Johnson, the last person to see Prince alive, the man with unrestricted access to the building, and the one who handled the call after the emergency landing. Staff recalled him requesting certain cameras be turned off for maintenance. Days before Prince's death, a request the technician later said was unnecessary. The pattern of the camera failures matched the routes Kirk frequently used. Next was Dr. Schulenberg, who examined Prince on April 14 and admitted to prescribing opioids under Kirk's name. Some of his visits to Paisley Park weren't recorded in the logs, and the cameras covering the medical room corridor had already failed by April 19. There should have been footage of the doctor walking in and out. There wasn't. Then there was the unknown scheduling manager, the man the family didn't know, yet who suddenly appeared controlling Prince's schedule. He blocked hospital visits. He made decisions Prince would normally approve himself, and he was the one physically inside Paisley Park. Late on April 20th, the cameras that should have recorded him were already dead. But the most chilling figure was the unnamed technical contractor. He wasn't staff. He wasn't a friend. Yet, he had the highest level permissions. He could override cameras remotely, alter logs, or shut down feeds without leaving traces. His identity remained sealed. That secrecy alone fueled years of speculation. Around Prince, relationships had become strained. He had fired several people in the years before his death: assistants, engineers, collaborators. Some left quietly, some left with bitterness. As Prince withdrew emotionally and physically, his inner circle grew smaller. But his reliance on the few who remained grew deeper. Power dynamics shifted. Trust became fragile. Paranoia grew in the silence. Rumors swirled about money, control, and the priceless vault of unreleased music Prince guarded fiercely. Fans believed he was preparing major legal moves in 2016, moves that could disrupt powerful interests. When he died without a will, the value of the vault and his catalog became a battleground involving corporations, lawyers, and courts. Decisions about Prince's legacy were no longer controlled by Prince or even solely by his family. Through all of this, Tyka Nelson carried the weight of questions she couldn't silence. Her interview changed everything. When she asked, why were the cameras off? Who turned them off? Who was in his house the night before he died? The world stopped and listened. Her final sentence became the most analyzed line in the entire fan community. One of them knows why. Even today, the last week of Prince's life remains a fog of unanswered questions, shifting loyalties, and silent corridors where cameras once watched everything but suddenly watched nothing. And the truth about who turned them off may still be locked inside the mind of one person who has never spoken.